How's it going, Bryce?
Good, Paul. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, just another Zoom podcast in the making.
Yes, indeedy.
How
It's
was
good
last
times.
week? That
What
was
do you
probably the
mean?
best podcast. It was the second best
Oh,
podcast we ever did.
straight fire. I
Oh, yeah.
got
So good.
burns. I got burns on my arm from it.
The
So
only
hot.
better one was that one of Emily Abbott.
Yes.
Everybody go back and never mind. We couldn't post that out.
Oh shit.
But
Straight fire though. Oh shit.
last week we couldn't hear connection.
Yeah.
And we couldn't hear him at all. So when I went to put it in Apple, I tried to like adjust his mic or whatever.
Yep.
No, nothing. Like not even a little bit.
So
And he talked a lot. So it was like, I'd say something, Bryce would say something, and then just fucking nothing.
me and Ocean did we recorded a conversation yesterday for, I don't know, 30 minutes. Nothing to do with CrossFit. And some reason, because I was running a cell phone and the laptop, and I thought I had one of them on mute. And what we couldn't see is that it was switching, the recording switched. It was literally that little square around you right now, and now it's around me. It switches, and every time it did that, it was switching the camera on the computer, and it was picking up double. So it was hello, 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 and it was hilarious. And I'm like, there's not even, it's
unusable.
Unusable.
Yeah.
And again, straight fire.
So today we thought we would talk about what we would do if we were Mr. Castro.
Yes, 2020 CrossFit Games. They posted, I think it was yesterday, and whatever, I'm not sure what day people hear this, but probably 2 days ago, they posted up that they will be running the CrossFit Games will go on. They're going to do it this year in August, and it's going to be at the ranch in Aromas, just like 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9? 10?
Yeah.
7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Yeah. 10 is when they went to the stadium.
Okay. Yeah. So a throwback, and there will be no spectators. That was all they did
spectators. I saw that. So what I think is going to happen, just guessing here, is they're going to throw the competition in Aromas, still invite all of the national champions and everything, and just whoever shows up gets to compete.
Yeah.
And most of those national champions and stuff won't show up, and therefore they won't get to compete. And so that solves a huge problem for Castro.
So is that what you would do? What would you do?
I would do that.
That's what you would do? You just say, hey, let's go.
I'd say it's going to be on this day at this place, and like we need to know for sure who's going to be there by a week before, and then I'd plan the whole thing once I knew who was showing up. Yeah. Because to do like 150 person start in Aromas wouldn't work.
No, that's true. That's absolutely true.
So, but I think that there would be selection on its own if you just said, if you can get to Aromas and figure that out, and all the players that most people really care about are already in America.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because you would.
Or like close enough that they could make their way.
Yeah, because a lot of them would probably decide that they don't have a real good shot. It's not worth coming out. Are they going to be quarantined is a big question. If they do fly out, which I would say even in August, I think they're going to be. What is it? It's the first week of August. So you're talking the end of July, they'd have to come here.
Second weekend of August, yeah.
Second weekend. So they'd have to get here in August. Yeah.
Someone like a Caroline Riesling-Toubeau or a Brent Fikowski or like a Sarah Sigmund's daughter, like a lot of like the big players, they would just come to America early.
Yeah, they're probably
they're quarantine at like one of their friends' houses, do the event, and then wait out quarantine again if they have to.
Yeah, I'm not talking to people that basically got in through the open, right? The top.
Yeah.
What did it go down to? We'll say the top 35 of the open, right? If you were in that top 35, you're probably going to show up, I think.
And I think that the people that are like say like Bukowski, I don't know if he made it in the open because he never does well in the open, but he will make it in some sort of sanctional.
Yeah.
If he didn't, he would make it in a sanctional, and he would show up because he's been on the podium before, and it's worth it to him. That's his livelihood.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The people that are like the national champion of wherever.
Croatia, they have no chance.
They're not going to figure out like 2 weeks of accommodations or at minimum that.
Let's say.
So then it just slims it up to just who you want to see anyway. Because nobody really cares about that dude.
Let's say you're the national champion of Greece, male or female. Would you show up?
You know you're fucking gonna get popped anyway.
You already did. It's a joke.
Oh. Well, number 2 champion also gonna get popped.
Yep. Because you know what happens when I go on lockdown? All the steroids. It's why I weigh 203 pounds right now, Paul.
There you go.
Fucking large and in charge. I'm working out a skeleton right here.
That looks just like you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Same facial structure and everything.
Bald-headed? Hell yeah.
Everything.
Okay, so.
Yeah. So what would you do, Bryce?
Well, no. So now, how do you run the show? Do you run the show any different?
Okay, so I guess you need to space everybody out. It's the programming that really needs to happen, but you put like a go mat this far apart from everything. Yeah. So you don't have people on assault bikes nearly touching each other like you normally would. So you have to spread it out. Yeah, so they're smaller heats.
Well, you don't have a stadium, right? So you don't
have a stadium.
You're not constrained with that space. Yeah. You're on a fucking farm basically. It's a pretty big place.
And then everybody has mats that are like drawn out that have enough spacing so that people aren't within 6 feet of each other.
Yeah, 3-foot buffer around each one.
And the judge just has to judge from outside that buffer.
I think the judge. So one of my things would be the judge has a headset like this, and there could be a speaker, could be a Bluetooth speaker by the athlete. They don't have to be near. They can be 10 feet away.
Yeah.
Not that would even be needed. I think the judge could be follow them around within 6 feet or so. But just to be safe, it could be judge here, athlete over here, 10 feet apart the entire time. As long as they can hear him, you're good.
You don't even need to hear. No rep.
Yeah.
You can do the whole thing, just that's that, true. And the athlete needs to count.
Yeah.
If you miscount, you fucked up. That's on you.
Yeah, true.
Like, you just have to be responsible for your own reps.
I think the judge-athlete part's pretty easy. Also, the athlete, we have to assume that we're going to let one thing Trump said, I think yesterday, was let's get sports going again. In order to do that, you have people that are not social distance throughout the event, right? And there's not 10 people in an area. There's more than 10 people. So you have to assume we're not going to be stuck. Yeah, we're not going to be. So one thing, these are just assumptions. You can't assume that we're going to have a 5-person heat with 5 judges. That would be ridiculous. Right?
Well, and even the staged people couldn't be there if that was the way it was set up.
Right. So. And then, you'd be so stuck with you'd have, like I said, you'd have to have run heats of 5 or less people, right? Which would be asinine. So you have to assume as long as you're
especially if you actually still have all the national champions and everything.
Yeah.
You've got 150 people in 5-person heats. It's not possible.
No.
The way that they did it last year where they had 150 people go in 4 heats.
That was awesome.
Is the only way to go.
Yeah.
If they're going to have that many people.
Yeah, I mean,
You've got to cut the field.
No way that many will show up, but
no.
So you assume, you could do at least 10 to 20-person heats. You have an entire farm. You could definitely space it out enough so nobody's near each other. Something that would be an issue would be cameramen too, but you could, at this point, fly drones. You could get a drone army. Let's say you had 10 people per heat. You could have 10 drones, 1 on each individual, which would be kind of awesome, actually.
And you could also just have cameras that do
each lane. Yeah, each lane. Yeah. They did that one year, actually, where it was in each lane. This is back in the day. I think it was that, or it might have been Ben Bergeron's the East Coast Championship when he was doing that. I think because they sold it was $20 for the weekend. You could get access, and then you could pick like the main camera, and then you could pick your guy.
You just be like, I want to watch Katrin all the time.
Yeah, and
Ben Bergeron is.
So yeah, buddy. I saw a picture of them the other day, and I'm like, what are they doing? What are they doing in quarantine right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you smoking? What are you smoking over there, Paul? The people want to know.
Right now, I am smoking a Paratagas. It's on the screen.
Oh, okay. Is it any good?
Nice little cigar. Yeah, it's actually quite nice. I only had one in the humidor, so when I'm not smoking without other people, I tend to smoke ones that I have singles of.
Is that a cigar of the month item?
I honestly have no idea where this came from. It was in my humidor. I think this might have come from Ben because I randomly acquired a bunch of cigars when he brought them somewhere and then didn't bring them home with him.
Gotcha.
So I got like 7 different random cigars. So I think it probably is cigar of the month or something because that's usually what he buys.
Well, he does. Yeah.
So I usually buy boxes of like just good ones, and he usually buys like very small amounts of like really, really good ones.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So then we smoke at my house way more often than his house, so it all pans out. But,
Scott and Rox gave me a box from I don't know where they went. They went somewhere recently. They brought me a box.
Nice.
So I have to,
now you have to start smoking.
We'll have to smoke those post-quarantine.
Yeah, we definitely will. On that note, I actually almost didn't get out a cigar today because I was like, man, 20 minutes of fitness and every one of these episodes that we've been on Zoom, I'm smoking a cigar. Fortunately, I'm not drinking. I'm drinking La Croix because I'm dialed in on my nutrition. So I'm trying to keep everything all on point.
I'm drinking Jameson, the cold brew Jameson.
Okay.
It's fucking good. It's really good. It mixes well with stuff.
Okay.
So I've got it in apple and orange juice right now.
So what would you do as far as the rest of the qualifiers and stuff?
Okay. So here's my thing.
Because things are going to have to get canceled. They have to. I saw that like Rogue is going to do an online one instead of all the good guys.
I think the qualifiers they're dead. Like I don't know how you would possibly do that. I mean, I know some of them have said they were going to move to a online tournament of some sort.
But if I'm not mistaken, all of those ones, CrossFit said we're not going to count that.
Oh, good. Yeah, I wouldn't either.
And they shouldn't.
It'd be ridiculous. Unless
it'd be the open.
So yeah, one of those things that is what CrossFit said, that they're looking into an online situation too. And so I think possibly the answer could be a combination of them, because like you said, the ranch is not going to handle 150.
Well, it'd be 300 people.
300. That's just individuals, though.
That's just individuals. And then that's another question. Are they going to do masters and teens and stuff? I don't think they will.
My guess is they fry them. But here's what you could do. So you obviously can't hold everybody, right? So let's say you make your cuts on online qualifiers and not just random online, like here I am at CrossFit West Oahu crushing the WOD with, my blind mother trying
with my missing rope and my handles in my hand.
Yeah. And I told her that, a good rep is like, this is a good squat. So, but instead you would do something where you could bring regionals, right? So you bring a regional type aspect back, you pick a gym in a certain region, and you would give your athletes maybe 2 regions that they could go to, 2 different spots, so that they or a few. Like if you could get to it, you could jump into that one, because obviously it's going to depend a lot on logistics, right? And I don't know how that would work out in Europe, Asia, whatever. Asia, I think we're done at Asia. I don't think any of them are coming. China, definitely not. But you could run like a regional type event, but obviously on a much smaller scale, kind of like when they do the open announcements, right? You pick certain CrossFit gyms and you have people that are going to be qualified judges that are going to run the event, and you run maybe 2 WODs or something like that at each of them, and have them CrossFit-esque. Obviously, you can't have them running. You can't have them doing, just much like regionals, you couldn't have people do anything that couldn't be directly duplicated over here, right?
Yeah.
Although it doesn't matter. You're up against the people in your group. So you kind of take.
And then the regions get sent a certain amount of people.
Yeah. And maybe it'd be many more. You could do many more than, I think we had 13 regionals at the height of regionals. Maybe you have 28, who knows, of these different events. There's
not 29, 28.
28. But you have thousands of CrossFit gyms that would definitely help you run this thing, right? And I think that's a way you could cut the numbers down for the people that really, like you said, they're not going to come. A bunch of them aren't going to come. unless they thought they had a chance. So they're cut down to, to the good ones. It's probably still going to be the same people that would show up anyway. Yeah?
But from a, I guess, like kind of elitist standpoint, all those people that went to like a regional kind of online type thing, are those still CrossFit Games athletes?
They make everybody do it.
But like, do they consider them, like if you do it where it's just their national champions? Oh yeah, I was in the CrossFit Games in COVID-19 year. Like,
sure, you're up against other CrossFit Games athletes, right?
I guess so.
You might not, you might not ever get into a heat with Matt Frazier, but you
like
probably
for the people that came
anyway.
last year, it was awesome, at least for them, because they got to go and compete at the CrossFit Games.
They're the COVID Games, brother.
But now if you're doing the COVID Games, isn't even like, would you even do it?
More prestige. Well, yeah, of course you would, because it's your chance to possibly go to the next position. You know what I mean? Or at least, even if you can't go, like maybe you live in Croatia and you're like, there's no way I could get out of here anyway. And even if I got there, or not even that, let's just say you couldn't even go, and you couldn't go, but you could make the regional thing and at least get the invite, and that makes you a Games athlete. I mean, qualifying, being in the conversation makes you one, but you didn't get to play in the CrossFit Games. No, if that's your question, you really don't. But
which that sucks, right?
It does suck, but this is a shitty situation. So.
And then here's the other question: like someone like Elijah got first in the teens.
Oh fuck yeah, he's first in the teens in a qualifier.
So first in the teens, first year he's old enough to do the CrossFit Games. So he's gonna be the youngest guy in the field of everybody.
Yeah.
And has a decent shot at winning at CrossFit Games in his age category. Maybe not a great shot, but a pretty good shot. I mean, he won the qualifier. That's second in the Open.
He has a 1 in 10 shot. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got decent chances. And so let's say he could win that. Well, do they keep him there? Because for him, that's like sponsorship. That's all kinds
I think so. I think you have such a small field in that regards that it's literally a heat, right? So if they get there, they get to be there. If they don't show up, they don't show up. I don't think, because you can't, like, what are you going to do? Bring it down to 3 people? You know what I mean? You can't pre-qualify. No, they've already pre-qualified.
I'm just guessing they're just going to axe all of that. Like,
I think so. Hey, does that make him the champ? I think so.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he can walk away saying he was the fittest there, but Reebok's not going to give him anything for it.
No, he loses out. It sucks.
But if he wins the Games, Reebok might be interested in this young kid who has huge potential.
Of course. Right? No, just Reebok. You got tons of. Yeah.
Well, this is just example.
Sponsors. Yeah.
Any sponsor might be like, hey, I'll give you protein powder.
Here's another thing I would look at for Europe. I don't know if you follow anything UFC related, but Dana White he basically has. You ever see Enter the Dragon? Nope. Bruce Lee. Okay, Enter the Dragon is there's a tournament on an island that this Chinese guy buys outside of Hong Kong, and it's in a foggy jurisdiction line, a line of Hong Kong and China runs down the middle, so it's kind of your English law, Chinese law, because 70s China did not rule Hong Kong, but it was Han's Island. So Dana White has secured a fucking island somewhere in Europe. And what he's going to do, he wants to keep the UFC going during all this bullshit, because he knows this is going to last much longer than, there's going to be other lockdowns, all that stuff. And he says, running stuff here isn't a big deal. He has the Indian reservations are willing to run, right? But he will wear the talent out in the United States, because it would just be the people that could get here, right? Same idea.
Yeah.
So he somehow finagled somebody that owns his own island. Who the hell knows what could it actually be the Fertitta brothers that own the UFC? I don't know. But he's building a UFC center there, which will have a stadium, and he will fly people there that are in Europe so that he can keep UFC fights going in Europe.
Okay.
So I call Dana White if I'm Dave Castro, or better yet, if I am Doug Henninger of Rogue, right? Rogue is the big sponsor of the CrossFit Games. Dana, I will outfit your entire gym whatever your facilities are for UFC that you're building there, all rogued out. That gives you some face time at UFC Europe, whatever the hell they're going to call it, because you know they're going to do the Ultimate Fighter or whatever show they run. Nowadays. They're going to do one there on the islands, right? UFC Island Elimination or some bullshit.
Temptations Edition, where the girls fight the guys and they all fuck a lot.
I love it. I'm in it. So you get Rogue in there, right? We will donate all the equipment if we could run a mini CrossFit Games on your island. What do you think about that? I like it. And so you run one big event there that anybody that can get there from Europe can come down, or even Asia, anywhere in that area, right? That side of the world. So Asia, Africa, whatever.
Europe, really far apart.
Well, who knows where we don't. Well, no, they touch. They literally touch. So I don't know where the island is. I have no idea.
I'm just saying, big fucking continent.
No, it's fucking. I know it's huge. But the island could be on the right-hand side of the Mediterranean Sea in the Middle East, which is part of Asia and part of Africa.
Could be in the middle.
And part of Europe, right? So you never know.
Let's just hold it in Italy. It's an island.
I hear no one's using the Coliseum right now.
Yeah, it's open. There. Done.
But I think that why not, right? Dana White wants to keep shit
How
going.
cool would it be if Rogue opened to the stadium?
Dude, that'd be legit.
The Coliseum is like, hey, Roman Warriors did it. Boom, let's do it.
Dude, that would be awesome. That'd be the ultimate CrossFit.
You gotta do 2 weeks of quarantine after. Whatever.
Do it. Fuck yeah.
It's a gamble that you might die, but like, I'd do it.
I'd do it. Definitely fighting the Roman Coliseum.
Oh yeah.
But that's what I would do there. I would literally get in contact with UFC and see if they can make something happen there, because you never know. And it might just be simple, something like that. And CrossFit Games are ESPN now, right? They're on ESPN?
Yeah.
So UFC is in a giant contract with ESPN and Disney. That's actually why they didn't have a fight a couple of weeks ago, because they were going to go through it. He secured a Indian reservation that said, "Yeah, let's go. We'll do it here," because they're not governed.
Not federally governed.
Right. But in the last, it was like Monday.
Rent a cruise ship.
The fight was
CrossFit Games cruise ship. Boom.
That's awesome. The fight was going to be on Saturday, and on Monday or Tuesday, Disney called them and said, "Axe it." So ESPN has interest in it as well. You can make that happen. So that's what. If not, you do a online thing at different CrossFit gyms, I would say, and eliminate the field. So, and then you run a smaller CrossFit Games in Aromas, much like the first 3 years of the games, where you had 30 people, something like that. Yeah.
You could just do it just off the coast of anywhere you want in international water, on one of the really big cruise ships.
That'd be
like
tight.
The one that I did in the Mediterranean. It had a full-size track on it.
Yeah. Dude, so there's some that wave pools.
Oh yeah, and there's lots of rooms.
Yeah, that would truly be the COVID games, and you got plenty of room to quarantine for the rest of your life. That's probably not going to be that long.
Well, and you have to you'd quarantine everybody until they're all you wouldn't let anybody off the ship that wasn't 100% good. So it'd be like, okay, now you're quarantined to your room for the next 4 days while we test you, and you just get tested. Okay, it's been 4 days. You're 100% good. Get off the fucking ship.
Awesome. I like that. That's good.
We lost a quarter of the games athletes. Your risk.
Yeah.
You signed the paperwork.
Just run the games before the quarantine. That's all. You got to run it. You got to run it early when they're still healthy enough to breathe.
You bring everybody on the boat. You do the CrossFit Games. Then you got 2 weeks of quarantine, and then you just do the test on everybody before they're allowed to leave the ship.
So is this the only way anybody could beat Matt Frazier? By him maybe dying of COVID-19? Is that the only? That's it? Oh shit! Actually,
I watched I'm sure you watched the fittest video that just came out.
Yep.
He didn't have that in the bag.
Oh God, no! Just the last 2 events he pulled it out.
He definitely won by a good enough margin still, but it goes to show he's not unbeatable.
Oh no, absolutely, I agree.
Can Noah do it? Maybe.
Came damn close.
Could Vellner do it? maybe. If Vellner didn't step out of bounds, the whole games would have been different.
Yeah.
Because Vellner would have stayed in.
And that
Vellner would have done really well in those events that Frazier crushed.
He could have been that guy that's fallen between them.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think that if Vellner had actually not stepped out across that line, it might not – I'm not saying he would have won. I'm saying that he would have disturbed things enough.
He could have been a spoiler. He could have been a spoiler. Right. Absolutely.
Specifically the last 2 events or last 3 events, I guess it was, that Frazier won in a row.
Yep.
I think Vellner could have won 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah.
Too bad. If he had, boom.
Too bad his accuracy sucks.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't blame the guy. You're sprinting for your life because you're a bad sprinter, and you end up stepping like 6 inches to the right. Don't get me wrong. I support Castro's choice to kick him out for it, to give him the penalty.
That was part of the workout. Yeah.
That was prescribed. But at the same time, for Vellner, it's like, yeah, you fucked up, but it's because you went that little bit too hard.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he fucked up. That's all.
If he had turned it down 1 degree, he would have been fine.
But yeah, it's his fault. Whatever.
But still, would have changed the games. I think Frazier might not have won if he had done that.
That'd be very interesting, yeah.
Which goes to show this year Frazier doesn't have it in the bag. But
hey, it's just like stepping out of bounds in a football game. You know, same thing. How many games are lost by that, right? Same thing.
And look right now, though, what did Tia do? She moved into Matt Frazier's house because they wanted to be quarantined together so they could still train together.
Yeah.
So Tia and Shane are living with Sammy and Matt right now, so they can still train together.
The only relationship more odd than Ben and Katrin.
Yeah, exactly. Hey. So, but interesting too, because like, if they've been training together full time all the time,
yeah,
dude, like that helps.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I don't think they'd be the athletes they could be, that they are, if they didn't train together.
And Frazier was so close to not winning last year that, like, he's putting in extra time, if that's even possible.
Yeah, because his whole thing anyway was like, you know, he's the opposite of Froning. Froning, I believe his whole mindset was that, you know, he doesn't appreciate you trying to beat him. So he's just going to fucking destroy you. Matt is afraid of everybody beating him, which is why he trains so hard. So it's just kind of opposite. It's a fear thing, and that's just going to add fuel to his fire that he almost lost.
And to Frazier, he said it straight up. Getting second place is the same thing as losing completely for him. He wants to keep winning because that's his legacy.
Sure thing, sure.
That's true. He gets beat. It's just as bad as him doing worse than second. No difference for him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it'd be interesting if this happens anyway.
But one way or another, they're going to do the games, and Frazier's still going to make it there.
And we know Noah's going to be there because he's already in California.
Yeah, right? He's going to make it, guaranteed.
He's ready. And, they could hold it in Florida because Florida don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, literally, they could go to somewhere that's 3 miles offshore. They could run it in Cuba.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like Cuba would be an option. Everybody just drives down to Florida. They get on a boat.
Yeah, if you want to die in Cuba, that's cool. But I don't know how their medical system is. I don't think we've heard much from Cuba.
Bring your own doctors.
No, Indian reservations. Key, golden, done.
Yeah. CrossFit Games is going to be held at the Buffalo Reserve.
Dave Castro's dad is claiming to be a Native American this week, so there's that.
Yeah, exactly. He's working on that tan.
He's like, don't worry, we're good. We're going to have it here. Yep. So, cool. That's good.
So anything else new or exciting going on? You just started doing Zoom classes.
Yeah, we got Zoom classes going on. Right now we're doing 2 a day. Once those pick up, we'll add more. What else? Let's see. As everybody knows, the PPP loans, all those stupid loans that they're going to give out are all gone. So nobody got them, by the way. On the CrossFit message boards, everybody's a couple of people got them, but most did not. We've got a lot of gyms closing. We've had one on island here that I know of.
Which one?
I don't know if they've announced it yet.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll tell you after. And then, what else? I don't know. That's it. That's about it. Nothing going on. I'm out of equipment.
Yeah, you've lent everything out at this point.
Yeah, I just ran the spreadsheet, and what's the CrossFit Support Your Box workout? We're on number 3 this week.
Yeah.
And it has 2 dumbbell thrusters or 2 dumbbells in it.
Okay.
For I think deadlifts or something.
Yeah, I actually haven't even looked at it, to be honest.
Oh yeah, so you have to have
doing it next week.
You have to have 250s, and I realize I don't even have 250s. I have one, so like I can't even. That's pretty funny. Really? Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's how much shit I've given out. So.
Huh? You don't even have to prepare for yourself.
No. You know, I did realize I have those adjustable ones.
Okay.
Those weird ones.
Yeah.
So I'll use those. And then if
you need to borrow gear for the workout, bro, come let me know.
Yeah. I'm like, who? I'm looking at my list, like, oh, who can I go and get stuff from? Because they have all my shit. If it was 30, 32 kilo kettlebells, I'd be all set because I have a fucking bunch of those and a bunch of 40s and the 106 pounder. But
yeah,
I got barbells and some weights left. But
I thought you weren't really lending those out much, but I guess now that it's gone on longer, you have.
Once all the dumbbells and kettlebells went in the first week, I just started giving everything out.
Yeah. Okay.
The only thing I didn't give out were the soft boxes because I'm using those for a couch in there.
Okay. There you go.
So I just gave another barbell out today. So
nice. But, well, that's good. Supporting the community.
Yeah. I did see somebody on the mainland anyway. It's a good idea. Basically, they were like, affiliates just sell everything you own because it's like you said, whatever I have extra that I don't want, just sell because it's going for a crazy amount, and just buy it brand new after for less. But obviously here that doesn't really work because you have to ship it and all that shit. So you would have brand new equipment, which would be kind of cool.
So if people are interested in buying specific things, should they message you?
Sure. I have
for the right price, everything's for sale, right?
Exactly. Everything that you guys took home, you can buy. But I do have some pull-up bar attachments.
Okay.
I've got like some dirty south bars. I've got a bunch of rig stuff that I do have to get rid of. It's sitting in my house. I got to go get it. And then
you have some extra stuff. That's right.
Yeah, and then the stones. I would definitely get rid of all the stones.
Yeah.
Except for the big one. I'd keep the big one.
Yeah, it'd be good to have the biggest one. I agree. I don't want you to sell that one.
But any of the other ones, it's not worth it. The sandbags are heavier, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna try to sell those. I think. Although it looks like we might be done in 2 weeks, maybe, hopefully.
Maybe. I mean, I do think from what I've heard, and I've been busy with work, so I'm not really in the loop on everything. But I'm under the impression that it has been getting better and better in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So as long as they keep tourism locked out.
Yeah.
It's not going to get worse, really.
Right. Until they open it up. Yeah.
And once they open tourism back up, that will be a problem again.
Yeah.
But hopefully they don't do that until the problems are gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now tourism being locked down, that still sucks for a lot of people in the community.
Oh, fuck yeah. Definitely.
And even I'm curious to see what happens as far as restaurants and stuff like that, whether those aren't essential at all, really, right?
Not to sit in. No, they're still operating anyway, most of them. So.
Yeah, exactly. So letting people sit around the table together is dragging that out for a little bit. I could see them dragging that out for a while longer.
6 months. I could see them doing that for 6 months.
But stuff like gyms where it's I guess I don't know about that because that could go on either. It depends on your perspective.
I mean, to me, they're not essential. I mean, I own one. They're not essential, and they're a real problem because I've been thinking about what we're going to do when we do open to keep people distanced,
Yeah. Yeah, so, no, and we all work out close together, and that's kind of part of it, right?
Yeah. And,
so it'd be really hard to be okay, we're taping off 6-foot boxes. Everybody has to stay in your own box.
And the amount of money I'm paying here for square footage, can you run a gym with 10 people in a class? If that, not even. No, you wouldn't be able to with 6-foot spacing, no. 7, 6. Well, we could do. My guess would be 1 per squat rack, right? We have 8 squat racks, and
I guess so. So you could probably do 8. You're right.
That's it. You couldn't have 2 classes going on like we do now, or did.
And the programming would have to be smart to even for that to even work.
Yeah, I mean all of it. I saw somebody taping stuff up, but. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's if we're both standing in the same parts of our box, that's cool. But what if we both walk to the, logistically, you are violating the 6 foot thing. You're gonna.
Which is interesting too. I had to fly to Maui last Tuesday and go work on a sewer pump. And I'm sitting in the airport and everybody's sitting with like plenty seats between each other so that there's like 6 feet. But people are sitting back to back. Like their heads are like a foot apart.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're missing the point, man. Like I'm sitting off like on my own, right? I'm like, but then I get on the plane and the plane was like 3/4 full because they've cut down the amount of flights so much. So I sit right next to somebody on the plane. So I just got to be cautious and like I wore my mask the whole time and like don't touch anything and just kind of like it's not super sick, and I guess that is what it is.
Like lockdown works. I don't think social distancing in a realistic environment does. I don't think it exists.
No, it can't really.
It can't.
But we are on an island, so once they cure all the cases and we don't let more people in.
Yeah, good luck.
Well, and even it has happened to a large extent, though. Like they've got hundreds of people coming in.
Yeah.
So I think that's what has to happen is they have to keep the flights locked down.
Yeah.
And then get it off the islands, and then wait till the rest of the world catches up a little bit, and then.
I don't know, but you know what that is? That's a topic for next week's podcast.
Yeah, there we go. All right, sounds good. Peace, everybody.
Later, guys.